Hi guys, welcome to today's session. I want to get straight into it and just honor your time that you've given me and really add some value to your life and your workplace and just make things hopefully a whole lot easier for you when you can implement some of these strategies here to connect with your team. Yes, that's what I'm going to tell you to do. Connect with your team because that is the key to everything in life, maybe nearly. I know I go on about it a lot, but I really believe in connection and the power of it. So we'll get straight into it. I'm going to talk about 5 surefire ways to increase your team's productivity. So have you ever been sitting at your desk, head in your hands, just thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with these people? They're driving me crazy. It might be that you can't get them to really engage and invest in the latest project that you want them to do, or maybe they're just slacking off a bit. They might be bickering amongst each other, not communicating well. Maybe they're not coming to you or approaching you when there's a bit of a problem going on. There could be, as you know, there can be a gamut of things that can be complicated when you're leading a team because you're leading a group of people and people are complex. You know yourself, I know myself. I'm a pretty self-aware person and I preach and go on about self-awareness all the time because I know about the power of that too and how it can really impact your relationships and yourself for good and increase the value of your life. So I'm always banging on about self-awareness, yet I know sometimes I'll be in situations and complex things will be coming out of me left, right and center and I'm thinking, Christy, you know, wow, there's another level. So when each of us are like that, very complex human beings, when you're leading a team, you've got, you know, layers of complexity and multiple people and, you know, whenever 2 or more are gathered, there's always the possibility of complex difficulties, and that's just life. That's the way it is. But it's your job as a team leader, as a role model, as a manager, whatever it is your title is, to really get your team on board and get them to lift to the level that you set the example of. You set the bar and it's your job to motivate your team to lift. So it's not always an easy job, and yes, there are difficulties, but if you can connect with your team, that's a surefire way to do it. So we'll get straight into our points, my points. Okay, so the first one is set clear goals and expectations. Okay, do your team know where they're at with you? Do they know very clearly what it is that you expect? And are the goals for their conduct and their engagement in their work, whether it's the latest project or their KPIs, are they really clear on those things? So how's your communication with that? I talk to employers and leaders about annual performance appraisals, and annual performance reviews are really good. They're really important to let your employees and staff know and to give them an opportunity to give you feedback about, you know, where everyone's at. They're really good. But you can't leave all your feedback for your staff for one annual review. It's really beneficial for you and your team if you're having those informal conversations all the time, whether it's emails, talking in the hallway, having an informal catch up in your office, whatever it might be that's comfortable for you, just setting that as a routine and just as part of the culture of your team, that you're always talking to your staff, making it really clear to them about what you think, what you expect, how they're going, and how you respond to that and what you expect them to do. So it's really important and really powerful because when Sally's sitting at her desk thinking, not really sure what I should be doing here, don't know whether this is the biggest priority or that's the biggest priority, A, B or C, who knows, we haven't talked about it as a team for a while, haven't caught up with my boss Johnny for ages, he's too busy in his office worrying about meeting his KPIs and his doors closed 90% of the time, so don't really know where I'm at. That's not where you want your staff to be. You want to communicate clearly and consistently and regularly all the time to let your team know and your staff know what it is you expect. Not only about the work that they're doing, but about how they behave ethically, with your policies and procedures, all of those things that you expect. It needs to be an ongoing conversation so that at your annual performance review, there's no sneaky surprises. It also makes your job for your annual performance review a whole lot easier, because there's nothing awkward or icky in there that you have to raise as a big shock surprise. You've already been doing it all consistently, and you've laid the foundation for yourself too. If you need to address any issues, you've laid a really good foundation for yourself. So keep up that clear, consistent communication. Be transparent, be honest. Just if you've got a problem, say, look, Lucy, I'm really not sure where you're at with this. Could we have time to have a chat about what you're up to? You could tell me any struggles you're having or any challenges, and I can work out whether I can help you in any way. Approaching your staff like that all the time, invaluable. Get to it. Next point, trust. Again, I say, as the leader of your team, you're the one responsible for ensuring there's an environment of trust happening in your team culture. So, first and foremost, are you trustworthy? Do you behave in an ethical way in accordance with the standards of your organisation? Do you stay in line with the policy and procedures and the code of conduct? And not only those, but what's the bar you set for your humanity? You know, what do you expect behaviour of all humans to be? What standards do you hold yourself accountable to? All right. So you're setting the bar here. Your staff, they're going to know where your bar's set for you. And I tell you now, if you're setting a bar here for you and expecting a bar there for them, they're not going to be too impressed. They're not going to respect you, and they're going to think you're a hypocrite, and they're not going to want to be productive for your team and to get alongside you in the next big goal that you want to achieve. So you need to be trustworthy. Behave in a way that lets your staff, your team know, wow, our boss Johnny, he's great. We can trust him. We know that he sticks to his word. He sets clear goals and expectations for us, and we always know where we're at with him and that we can trust what he says. He communicates well with us, and if he expects us to be ethical, we know that's fair enough because he's always ethical too. The next really important point, once you're instilling that trust in your team, is, are you instilling respect? So there's some basic levels of respect that I would hope all human beings would show to each other, particularly humans that have a connection in the same workplace, in the same team. So there's levels of respect, that standards that I would want everyone to hold to around how you speak to people, the tone of voice you use, how you address them, how you make them feel when you're interacting with them, not intimidating or bullying or those sorts of things. So I would hope that that all goes without saying in your team, that there's that level of respect in the way you treat each other. And of course, you're setting the lead in that, and you're setting the example. The other aspect of respecting your team is really respecting and understanding what they can bring to your team and their unique qualities, their unique strengths, their unique knowledge that they can bring to you. So don't fall into the trap that some leaders do of thinking, I'm the leader here, I'm the boss, I know it all, or I certainly know more than you, and you can listen and learn from me, thanks. That really disempowers your team, doesn't encourage them to rise up and learn and grow. You're putting them in a box and assuming you're heaps better than they are. So you're not giving them any incentive to want to grow and learn and bring all they can. Whereas if you come in with an attitude with your team saying, you know what, I might be your leader, which means I've got some leadership traits and I've got some qualities that I can bring your team around how we can best achieve our next big project. But there are things that you bring to this team, knowledge, skills that I may not know anything about, or that I'm willing to really invest in you, and I want you to bring that knowledge and skill, and I can learn from you and the rest of the team can. And instilling that respect for who people are and what they can bring to you, having that attitude that you can always be a lifelong learner, and no matter how old you get, no matter how high up in your status that you hold in your organisation or your business, you can always learn from other people, from their unique perspectives. Each person, you don't know what it's like to walk in their shoes in life. You've got no idea, nor do we really expect you to. But then don't assume at the same time that you know all there is to know about them. You don't. You never do, and you never will. But if you come to all your interactions with them expecting that they can bring something to you that's of value and of worth, they're going to feel respected and like you do value them, and that they have got something to offer, and they're going to be motivated and keen to bring something to the table to you, to impress you, and to really work hard to achieve that next goal that you're setting. So not only do you set that example of respect in the daily treatment of each other, but that next level of respect for the skills and attributes that each of your team members brings. So I can't emphasize that point enough. On to number 4, appreciation. So again, this leads in from the last slide. Do you understand your team members? Do you appreciate on a level what's involved in their tasks on a daily basis? You know, what's work life for them? Are you that busy, worried about meeting all your next KPIs that you're locked in your office, door closed, and not really aware of the day-to-day runnings of your team? Okay, if that's the case, they're not going to really feel connected to you, and that you really have an appreciation of where it is that they are at. They'll feel like you're not really clued up. So how can you appreciate their staff? Take an interest in them, be aware of what it is that, you know, the demands and challenges that they face every day in their roles. Be aware of what's expected of them, where they might be struggling, where they might need some help or support, where you can step in and say, hey, I've noticed this. Would you like me to do this? Or can we do this differently? What do you think, Jane? Okay, being linked in with them, being connected, and really taking the time out to go, you know what, I've been thinking about that project that I gave you to do, and realise that probably that section B, there's going to be a few challenges in that, because there's some quite complexities on part C of section B. Okay, wow, Jane's going to go, gee whiz, Johnny, my boss, has really been thinking about that project. He obviously cares about me and really wants me to succeed in this project. So good points. Points, Johnny, points to you. So appreciation of what your staff are, what the demands on them are every day, and appreciating when they do something good. So not just a token, thanks Sally, you did a great job on that project email that you might have, you know, saved in your files as a pro forma, and you just edit the name every time anyone succeeds in anything. That's not genuine. That's not going to work. Sowing seeds of appreciation into your staff and recognizing when they do a good job is about making genuine attempts to engage with them and acknowledge what it is they've done and what they've achieved. So that it could be an email, but make sure you really personalize it. Even just as you pass them in the corridor, oh, Sally, I saw the results of that project come out, that part B, section C that we worked on. How were the results of that? Gee, they were impressive. Good job. Things like that, taking those opportunities when you're linked in and engaged, that can do a huge thing. Imagine if your boss said that to you passing in the corridor. That's a boost for the day. That makes you think, wow, I want to get onto the next project and I want to really do a good job. I want to lift because they appreciate it when I do. And we all love being appreciated and recognized. That's another human trait. And that's good. So really sew that in to your relationships with your staff and your team, appreciating them and the demands on them. To our last point, I want you to lead by example. So that theme has probably, you've worked out, that's been flowing through all of my 4 points before this. You are the leader of your team. That's the definition of leadership. You're coming alongside your team, walking with them. You're leading by example. You're alongside, walking, leading in the direction, and they're following you because they can emulate your behavior, they can emulate your attitudes, and you're instilling in them those things that you want to see them rise to the occasion. So it's really important that everything you do and everything you expect of them, you have that bar set for yourself. Your staff are going to work out if you've got a bar here and you expect them to be there. I think I might have said that earlier, but I can't emphasize it enough because we've all got sniffing out noses to sniff out people who are hypocritical or aren't genuine and are trying to hoodwink us. I'm sure you can think of examples for yourself. You know, if someone's not leading by example, you think, I'm not going to invest in that. So you really need to instill all these things by leading by example and really encouraging your team to get to that next level of performance, motivation, and influence in your organisation by you setting the bar and encouraging them, connecting with them, appreciating them, recognising, respecting, having that culture of trust that says, yeah, team, come on, we can do this. So that is, to finish off my presentation, that's the 5 surefire ways. If you get to work and you do them, I'm 100% sure that your productivity will increase and your team will increase their connection and appreciation of you, and you'll have less of those moments at your desk. So go out, smash it, connect, grow in your knowledge of you, grow in your knowledge of your team, grow in the ways that you can learn how to connect with your team better, and live